Hey everybody, it's Carm here, back on a Wednesday. Wasn't really expecting to come on today, but I had, wanted to come on and pay my respects and remembrance of an artist we just lost recently, Harold Budd. He's been one of my favorite artists for, well, really since high school. Passed on yesterday at the age of 84. I just heard it from Derek's video a little while ago, and thinking of my pal Gary too, Cosmic Pickle, many of you know. I know he's very much a fan as well of Harold Budd. Wonderful composer, keyboardist, incredibly singular artist in so many ways, not just as an artist but as a person. Even beyond the music, which I've enjoyed for so long, anytime you'd hear him or read an interview with him, you could see he just had such a so personal and unexpected. A lot of his responses to questions, they were never sort of the canned, or you would call canned or cliched responses to the questions. Really speaking from the heart of his heart and what he experienced, and not content to. You could never pigeonhole him, or you wouldn't accept any of the labels. Just a very singular path all the way around, among other things that I greatly admire about anybody, but that's something he really exemplified throughout his life. And just wanted to come on and just pay my respects, show a few things. I don't have everything of his, just a few things I had handy, but yeah, it's just been with me for a long time, musically. I'll show this. It's the first album I ever bought of his on CD. Like a lot of people, got introduced to his music through his collaborations with Brian Eno from way back when. Plateau of Mir and The Pearl, his wonderful collaborations. And this is a beautiful example of his solo work early on. He's from 86 or 87, solo keyboards. It's gorgeous. His very individual, kind of slow, lumbering style of playing. I think he called it soft pedal. Just playing, it was just very gradual, allowing the music to unfold as it would, not forcing it, and really developed his own pacing. Agua. This is Alive. This is from a festival, the late 80s, early 90s. Mostly solo work on here. This one I'm playing in the background right now, Alexa. This is among my favorites of his. It's from the mid to late 90s. More solo keyboards, piano and synthesizer. Yeah, synthesizer playing too. I mean, he was very, just had a very distinctive approach and very kind of, I guess you could say, economical approach. Very selective about how he used it. Played with a great deal of restraint overall. Avalon Sutra, and As Long as I Could Hold My Breath. It's a beautiful double set here, double CD. Very much like the cover, very colorful and luminescent. Combination of his solo keyboard playing with a small ensemble. Here's some strings on here, string quartet, and John Gibson saxophone and flute. His playing is just perfectly blended with Harold's on here. Just gorgeous. A very early album of his, Pavilion of Dreams. It's from '78 originally. It's on the Obscure label, and this is Editions EG. Just heavenly music, especially the first piece. Just bliss throughout, 18 minutes of bliss. Marion Brown's on the piece on alto sax, and it was my introduction to Marion Brown. And yeah, just that piece alone is just, you really can imagine ascending, heavenward into the clouds. It's amazing. Pavilion of Dreams. La Bella Vista. It's another among one of my personal favorites of his. Solo piano. This is from the late 90s or early 2000s. Daniel Lanois produces it and writes the notes. Really nice. His music is so sparse and understated anyway. When you hear the piano, just him on piano, with no additional adornments, very raw and in the moment, and you really can hear kind of the nakedness, but also him, his pacing. Just it's so illustrated so clearly on here. Yeah. Among my favorite solo piano albums in general, and I have quite a few overall, but this is really a gorgeous piece. La Bella Vista. Did a lot of interesting collaborations throughout his career. It's Eraldo Bernocchi, music for Fragments from the Inside. Is later from the 2000s. Played with all kinds of people, and always retained his own voice. Whoever he was collaborating with, it was a real collaboration. It was that person and him, represented. Always integrated, into the music overall, but never losing a sense of his own voice and how he expressed himself. You always knew it was him in there. I have featured this earlier in the summer by the Dawn's Early Light. A beautiful chamber example of his chamber composing and playing with others. Another all-time favorite and one of the earliest albums I picked up from him back in high school. It was a real touchstone for this kind of music and expression. So it's another really good intro to what he does. Another solo piano album, perhaps. Again, another kind of example of just his music being stripped down in general, but you get to hear it even more illustrated here. Yeah, just beautiful. The Room. Another solo keyboards, piano synthesizer. It's from 2000. I distinctly remember buying this at Best Buy. At the time, I was working across the street from there, and get the paycheck, and then go over there, and I remember getting this there. Being really thrilled seeing one of his albums there, and all the titles have room in it. And that's another thing too with his titles; they're very individualistic, and he puts as much thought and consideration into the titles as works of art in and of themselves as he does the music in a lot of ways. So very I think he was inspired by other forms of art, maybe even more so than the music, literature, painting. I think in an interview too he was saying, talking about painting would bring him to tears much sooner than music would, which is really interesting and illuminating about him. Derek was showing a few of his albums, and this was among them. The Moon and the Melodies. Collaborated with members of the Cocteau Twins. I know Robin Guthrie did a lot of collaborating with him over the years, and this is a nice representation of both the group and what Harold Budd did solo. So yeah, Moon and the Melodies. In the Mist. Another gorgeous album. Harold keyboard with string quartet. Maybe not the expected approach. You think of sometimes with strings, you think it might be a little on the syrupy side, but really it's totally his music, and just gorgeous. It's very luminescent. It just has this. You just think of almost like a prism. Just different refractions of light coming at you at different times. Great contrast of light and dark, which really got in so much of his music. The contrasts of just overall human experience. You could hear the joys and the sorrows in very subtle ways, but he had a way of illustrating it. However minimally he was playing or composing, it somehow came through so powerfully. But sometimes so subtle, you barely perceive it. but I always heard that and felt that in his music throughout the years. Bandit of Stature, another one like In the Mist, also string quartet. Combination of his solo playing and string quartet and different combinations of strings. Beautiful. I remember this one being a little bit more, maybe a little more abstract and experimental than as usual. It's gorgeous. And Jane 12 through 21. I have the other one too. There's a earlier volume. More on the experimental side, a little more, more like sound work, trying different things. And this was later on for him in 2014. So even in his later years, still very much pushing forth and trying different things and still exploring sound and his own ways of expressing. A beautiful, another aspect of what he does. And yeah, I think I showed. Yeah, I think I showed this. It's playing in the background. Yeah, Alexa. Yeah, just gorgeous stuff. And yeah, Harold Budd, one of a kind artist, and I'm still processing this myself, that he's passed on now, and that we won't won't hear anything newly created by him, unless it's something in the vault or what have you. I know sometimes you hear people say with someone who's older, that age and older, who passes on, they say, well, they lived a long life, and I mean, yeah, but I mean, it's that much more time we've had with them that makes the loss harder in a lot of ways. Yeah, just knowing that they're not among us in the physical, and but still, we could be grateful for the time we had with them, and what they gave to the world, which Harold, I think, gave a great deal, and be many years of listening and still being able to process all of that, and yeah. So yeah, very much recommend, if you're not familiar with his music, to check it out, and if you're already a fan, by all means revisit Harold Budd. Born 1936, and yeah, passed on yesterday. So he's one of a kind. So yeah, just wanted to come on real quick and do this. Just felt compelled to. He's an all-time favorite, and someone who should be known better. So thank you for watching. I hope you're all well and staying as healthy as possible. And until the next one, peace, love, and joy.